You're 7 years old, sitting in a classroom with 50 kids you don't know. The teacher is talking. ପିଲାମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଶୁଣ, ଆମେ ଆଜି ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ଅକ୍ଷର ଲେଖିବା, ମନ ଦେଇକି ଶୁଣ. You see her point at the blackboard. You hear her voice, but you do not understand a word. And you have just a few months to pass an exam in this unknown language. That's no nightmare. That was my childhood, growing up in India, moving every few years from a state where everyone spoke Hindi to a state where everyone spoke Bangla to a state where everyone spoke Odia. At 7, when everything seemed impossible, I wanted to cry. I wanted to run away. I wanted to quit. But I tried my best to push away my doubts and fears and power through. At 9, when we moved again, it got just a bit easier. Even though I could not talk to my classmates for a while, we connected over cricket and volleyball. We shared delicious parathas over lunch, and we teamed up at Scouts after school. By 11, I was almost looking forward to the next move. The promise of new friends, new rivals, new foods far outweighed the miscommunication. Living this experience as a child was transformative. Over time, I got better and better at shoving away my doubts and fears and powering through. Eventually, the move stopped. But left behind was this strange, tingling openness to try new things. You've heard the cliches. Take a leap of faith. Jump into the deep end and learn to swim. Fake it till you make it. Nobody told me any of that back then. For me, it was simple. The discomfort goes away if you just power through. And power through I did. Before coming to the GSB, I spent 15 years at a B2B tech company, starting as an engineer in India and pivoting over 10 times in those 15 years across roles, functions, teams, even geographies. I went out of my way to master new skills, working during the day and studying evenings and weekends for 3 years to get a business degree to pivot to marketing. Learning Spanish for presentations and deals in Mexico. Traveling the world, meeting customers to understand their pain points, always at work. I would settle for nothing less than exceeding expectations. Powering through served me quite well, until it didn't. When I got promoted to a manager, I put the same pressure on my team to exceed expectations that I put on myself. I was sure they would get through their discomfort by powering through. So when the first 360 reviews came in, I was excited. I remember running upstairs to this corner conference room with frosted glass walls to read in private. And I opened my reviews one by one. The first one read, Suchit should avoid being so pushy. It was as if those frosted glass walls shattered around me. I could feel my energy go away. Who could be this malcontent? With a little more hope, I opened the second review, and it read, Suchit should trust and empower the team more and let go of the details. Oh no. I could feel the blood rain down my head as I slouched into my chair. The reviews did not get any better from there. By the time I got through them, I felt like that 7-year-old again. I wanted to cry. I wanted to run away. I wanted to quit. And among those lines, one line stayed with me. Suchit needs to pause and smell a few more roses. Was I missing something? I realized, not immediately but over the next several months, that all those doubts and fears I had shoved away were still out there in the shadows. Powering through had a cost that I hadn't reckoned with before. I had moved way too often to form long-term and deep friendships. I felt this awkward distance with people that others perceived as me being disconnected. The idea of home, for me, was not tied to a particular place, but only to a close group of people. Eventually, the 11-year-old in me took over. I powered through once again, and I reached out to a trusted mentor and coach for help, who convinced me to pause and reflect on the impact I was having on my team. Gradually, I learned to embrace the truth that each member of my team had more years of experience than I did. I learned to align each member's individual goals with that of the team and the organization. I organized team-building exercises where there were no hierarchies. I leaned in to listen more, to gain consensus, to understand their perspectives. But above everything, I stopped expecting them to power through every discomfort the way I did. Standing here now, I know I talk to an audience of people who powers through, who shoves away doubts and fears, who takes leap after leap after leap. And even though it works for you, even though it works for us, we need to remember, as we try to change lives, organizations, and the world, that not all the people we lead operate the same way. We need to have empathy and understanding for the people on our teams who may respond to discomfort differently. We cannot push them as hard as we push ourselves. It is also important to know that how we act sets an example for our colleagues, for our employees, and as I recently realized, even for our families. The other day, my wife Meenal and I were discussing our next steps after graduation. We lived in Atlanta before we got to Stanford. Should we go back or should we stay here? So I turned to my almost 9-year-old son. Ryan, what do you think? Atlanta or California? Dad, neither. I think I want to try someplace new. At that moment, I felt overwhelmed inside. So proud of his adventurous spirit, much like me when I was 9, yet concerned that he might also miss a place that felt like home. There is a balance between always powering through and pausing to smell the roses, between moving on and enjoying where you are and what you have. I wish I could tell you exactly where that balance lies, but I'm still trying to find it. So my ask of you today is this. Keep in mind not only the benefits, but also the costs of always powering through. And try to find a balance that works for you, and just as importantly, for the people you lead.